everyone, it's Dustin Schultz with another episode of Political Throwdown. We have quite a bit long laundry list to do today. We have to talk about the government shutdown, Trump's comments about the walls, and of course we do have to start with our fan letter of the day. The fan letter we received today was Joe Smith from Kentucky. Joe writes, Dustin, thank you for the time. Do you think money should be regulated in major politics and elections? And alright, well, let's jump into it, Joe. I do think that money should be regulated in politics. There's something about it. Like, we look in the midterms for 2018, we can see it's the most expensive midterm of all time with $5.2 billion spent, as read on Quora. Only 9% of people who spent less actually won in the election, which is a big problem. You shouldn't have to spend the most money to win, because then that puts the power into the wrong people's hands. Another big problem that we also had was that third parties were not getting enough spending towards them by PACs, which we will talk about later. But third parties can be huge. If we limit spending, third parties would actually have a larger chance of making a true impact on the election. You have parties like the Green Party of the United States. We also have different, like the Right to Life Party, the Right to Choice Party. All these huge third parties that bring up social issues, not political issues, that can really change how an election goes. It would just stop political corruption from falling into the wrong hands if we can limit the use of PACs as well. The use of PACs needs to be limited because the money from PACs this year in the 2018 election, the 2018 midterm election, was $818 million from PACs. The last cycle was $345 million spent. That's on OpenSecrets.org, a wonderful site as well. It's a huge increase from where we were at before, and that's a huge problem because that means that something somewhere is going wrong. We need to limit the funding from PACs towards each candidate. Everybody should have an equal chance. If we could limit the spending money from PACs and individual donors and small donations, we could even out those third parties to be just as big as the Republican and the Democratic Party, the two that always win, because the last time a third party was actually in the election was 1912, and that was because they had a likable president who was already in office and knew what he was doing before. And that's the big problem about the third parties, is that they don't really get an often chance because these people aren't even going to win because they know that they have no chance because of these big spenders, everybody else coming in. There's actually a bill being proposed to the Constitution about contributions and expenditures that are intended to affect elections. It's going in 2019 to 2020. I saw that on Congress.gov, also a wonderful site to find a few things out. It's just that we need to limit, especially these PACs, these small donations, everything that's going into the election. So that would be my biggest thing. I would say, Joe Smith, is that if we can properly regulate the amount of money we have coming into the election, then we might have a chance at having more of a democracy instead of a who spends more, who wins more, such and such.